see if the mic is working. That's good. I'm a little early. I understand that, but I gotta catch a plane, so I'm gonna adjust the tip. Let's just get started. I'm gonna get this started. I don't have any buttons to work for this one, so wish me luck. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hi, there we are. Welcome to the show. Look at that. And I'm in space, even. It's welcome to the show. It's a bit bare bones. As you might understand, I'm rebuilding a set for us to enjoy the show from, and I started from scratch because I had so many files. I think that's partly why I was running into issues. Maybe, perhaps, we don't know. We'll see. Now, I don't know if the chat part's going to work. Let's see. Hey, look at that. It does work. Now I just have to shrink it down where I can see you guys. Look at that. That's much better. And then, excellent. Glad you like the Nerd Halen t-shirt. It is available at a place near you. Yeah, at nerdhalen.com, I think. It's the I would call it the Can't Stop Lying Nerd Halen shirt. I'm just saying for the record, the honorary Can't Stop Lying Nerd Halen shirt. I'm only going to do an hour because I got to get out the door because I there's been weather and all kinds of other stuff, and again, I'm not flying tomorrow because I don't like flying day of show, and I have radio, so I have to make this flight tonight, or I miss radio and other stuff tomorrow, and it's crazy pants. So just so you know, but I love you guys, and I'm glad you're here. And now, how does it feel to be out in space? Because that's where you are, chat room, and also hi Instagram people, hello Instagrammers, grammar police. Obviously not, because if you're going to look for good grammar, that's not the place to do it. Okay, so this is not bad as a new window. It makes you look like Shutters, though. I'm going to try and find a... all right, you do and you'll clean it up, Alyssa Katz. Can somebody translate the German for me so I don't have to do that at the same time I'm doing everything? I just want to say. All right, level 2 hype train. At one of these points, I'm going to have a graphic that comes up for a hype train. I'm gonna do it. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? We'll jump right in, ladies and gentlemen. This is I have to say, why is this so? Why are they? Who? Why is the screen on this? I guess he hasn't adjusted his. All right, this is Glenn Beck with footage released. This is Greg Kelly saying that using very harsh language. The title of this one is Greg Kelly: The political attacks on Trump are bullpucky. How dare you, sir? The cold. Jim Jordan, of course, says that some of the other witnesses contradicted Hunter Biden. I would also argue then, B logic being what it is, that he contradicted, that they contradicted him. So I guess right now my bet is on Tony Bobulinski winning the full of shit contest in this particular situation, with Devin Archer coming in a close second, or Galvanis, maybe the other guy. Perhaps. And then, of course, we're all going to be censored, and I might as well just shut the show down because apparently the U.S. government has a secret plot to silence my voice, according to Redacted with Natalie Morris. Let's jump right into this one because I know I'm not going to be able to watch the whole thing. I don't have time. So let's see what the fuck they're talking about. Let me guess. Misinformation and disinformation from overseas sources where if you bounce your website through Russia, you're going to have a hard time. Now, I don't know what it is. Global Engagement Center is gonna, I don't know, I'm very afraid. I'm Jade Helming right now.
Well, the U.S. wants to censor your plain old opinions and make sure that it's not foreign misinformation. This is a new initiative from the U.S. State Department, and they said they will lead a coalition to counter disinformation.
Okay, well then I guess if you're not full of shit or you're not actively misinforming people, that would be the disinformation part of it. You got nothing to worry about. I got nothing to worry about. Are you worried? Why are you worried? Suddenly you're worried. It's weird. It's almost as if you and your husband fled the country for legal reasons.
With Canada and the UK through the Global Engagement Center.
Yes, the worst dictatorships on the fucking planet. The Canada and the UK. If anybody shuts down people's rights. It's those places.
I'm going to call them the GEC for the rest of this segment. Now, take a look at this. Here's a recent statement from the State Department saying,
Oh, so they're telling you what they're going to do. It's so brazen.
the UK and Canada, we're going to be working together on this foreign manipulation stuff.
Okay, and if you're not one of the manipulators, why would you have anything to worry about? Are you going to go to this? I'm worried we'll be caught up in this because we're not disinforming people, but we're worried that they will label us as such because we share opinions with the Wagner Group by accident.
Disinformation, it's a problem. Now, you would think that after the Twitter files, when
You mean after we stop laughing at the Twitter
the
files?
GEC was ousted as a propagator of
Ousted as a propagator? You mean outed as a... Never mind.
misinformation, they made stuff up in order
No, they didn't.
to deplatform people.
No, they didn't.
They made up narratives about
Nobody was deplatformed. Nobody. The government didn't deplatform anybody. If Twitter disagreed, they kept people on. Happened all the time. Yeah, again, these people have a lot to learn about consent.
Iran, Russia, and China. But still, Twitter, Canada and the UK are like, yeah, we'll let you lead this one. You did a good job on those things, I guess. Now, the Global Engagement Center is the same organization that created misinformation about Russia and China and COVID and tried to deplatform normal people.
They tried to deplatform normal people for what?
That went against the government narrative.
Which was what? That vaccines work and that... Hey, I'm just asking questions.
With that in mind, here is a story from The Guardian today saying U.S. to lead global alliance to counter government disinformation.
No. Foreign government disinformation. Wouldn't you... well, maybe, you know what? I guess maybe they're fighting their own disinformation. Congratulations, you've won.
And here is what they say must be done from this special envoy, James Rubin. He says the GEC hopes to agree on definitions for information manipulation versus plain old opinions that other governments are entitled to have, even if we disagree with them.
Right. Yeah, that would be, I'll tell you, let me give you an example. America sucks. That would be the opinion of Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin and everybody there, except the ones who hide their money here or send their kids here to live, in which case it's America sucks, wink, like with an asterisk. The opinion in general that would be held by them. The other part would be planning a news story in an Indian newspaper that the CIA created AIDS to kill black people, and then using your foreign spies to release those stories and promote those stories throughout Africa, for example. That would be the... does that clarify the distinction? Okay.
And they're going to join forces with the UK and Canada, and they're hoping to snag a couple other partners. Now, do you want the government to define things like this?
Yes, they do it all the time. Here's a good one. Asshole, have you ever looked at the back of a box of food for its calorie count, for how much vitamin B it has, for any warnings, whether it has monosodium glutamate? You do it all the fucking time. What do you want? Next, the government will tell us when to stop and when to go at intersections. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, these are standards we set.
Right? What is a plain old opinion? And what is a definition that's acceptable? Right there, my spidey sense goes off, right?
What's a definition that's acceptable? Are we having a bungholio moment, young lady? Are we confused about what? Because you just showed us. Well, I'm not going to go back and do it. Well, yes, I am. All right, here we go. Definitions for information manipulation versus plain old opinions that other governments are entitled to have, even if we disagree with them. Not definitions of stuff, not definitions of what things are, but definitions for what what encapsulates or is technically information manipulation versus just dumb old shit.
like this, right? What is a plain old opinion and what is a definition that's acceptable? Right there,
Yeah, not a definition that's acceptable. How do you define information manipulation versus an opinion? It's a sentence that grown-ups would use when talking about something serious that while you're cosplaying a librarian, you're having issues with.
my spidey sense goes off, right?
You don't have a spidey sense, young lady. I'm sorry. You and your network and the thing that you're on have shit on Madam Web. I don't want to hear anything about your opinions about Spidey.
Right. Now, last year, we had 2 rounds of the Twitter files that pointed
Yes, equally stupid.
at the GEC as the baddies.
Right, that doesn't mean they are. As a matter of fact, I would say, as my mother would say when I was growing up, consider the source. These are assholes telling me this, therefore, it might be shit.
They're the bad guys. They don't know how to root out disinformation.
They weren't even trying. They were just letting Twitter know in these cases that there was misinformation and disinformation, specifically like the active form and the passive form, and letting them know about this. And then they did it themselves. The routing was done indeed by the social media platforms because they're trying to sell advertising and they'd rather not have, Stormfront telling truths about race.
They label things they don't like as disinformation.
Just don't like? So that's the standard? They don't like it? They don't like that. I don't like that. It's too salty. I don't like that. That was what the State Department did? That's what you think the GEC did? I don't like that. Stop that. Stop doing that. I don't like that.
That's pretty clear, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. Here was one from the first one from the Twitter files number 17. This came in March. In this document dump, we saw that the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab was funded by the GEC, and they wrote to Twitter with a list of people that they suspected were engaging in inauthentic behavior. Okay.
Yeah, bots. Or like fake BLM accounts, for example. Or maybe even you dressing like a librarian who apparently is wearing floral camo.
It was inauthentic because they didn't like it. So
no, it was inauthentic because it wasn't real. It was not authentic. These were not the authentic opinions of a person expressing themselves, and certainly not a fucking American. These were ghost accounts and bots. Do we actually, do we give a fuck about an actual telling of this?
They said if this person says anything pro whatever.
Yeah, that was their standard. Whatever. I don't like that. What kind of fucking mean girls do they think run the State Department? I don't like that. Whatever. Shuh. Hashtag shuh. If we could figure out how to spell it.
Must be state funded from somebody else.
It must be state funded with somebody else.
Specifically, they were looking for Hindu nationalism. More broadly, don't you dare think nationalistically. If you're a Hindu, you must be a state actor.
What? So, So the GEC was concerned. So part of the Twitter files was an attack on Hindu nationalists. You mean the ones that want to kill Pakistanis, or that are calling for the death of, or actually, I got news for you. Aren't actually, and if you'll listen to what was actually said, aren't actually, not really Hindu nationalists. Hindu nationalists can Hindu national all they want to. But these people were fake Hindu nationalists, basically trying to cause trouble between 2 nuclear powers on social media, starting like basically civil unrest. And they don't really care. That's the difference.
And only so many on this list had anything to do with it. Many were just ordinary Americans with no connection to India or no clue about Indian politics.
You mean the list that entails a bunch of shit? You made the whole list about one thing when the whole list was about a bunch of things, and part of the list was about this thing. So, oh, fucking hell.
They just took the liberty to make a spreadsheet of Twitter users they wanted Twitter to depopulate. They also had
depopulate. I see. All right. So we're just going to kill these people. We're liquidating this. They just want to depopulate Twitter's Hindu nationalists, Hindu nationalist Twitter, if that's a thing. Depopulate. All right. I feel like is it just me, or does it seem like they're trying to trigger Roseanne?
Had hundreds of suspected Chinese accounts that they thought were foreign information. Many were connected to Iran that weren't. Now, Taibbi at the time said this about the
many that were connected to, they said were connected to Iran that weren't. Yeah, some of the ones that they're saying these might be connected to Iran, they might also just be Russian trying to pose as Iranians as well. So they're not connected to Iran because they're pretending to be connected to Iran, and that's part of the trouble. Do you see the disinformation part of this, you fucking tool?
GEC. He says they usually list themselves as a State Department entity, but they're not. They were created by Obama's last year, and the GEC is an interagency group within the State Department whose initial...
Oh yeah, huge. Yeah, I think that's key. Because they say they're part of the State Department, but they're actually just part of the State Department.
Initial partners include...
Let me get this straight. The State Department interacts with other governmental agencies and NGOs to deal with foreign influence on the United States, as well as a myriad of other things. Am I in the ballpark? Crazy lady who fled the country with her husband after he had been a Fox host because you defrauded people out of their life savings.
The FBI, the DHS, the NSA, the CIA, DARPA.
DARPA? Of course they do. It's the fucking State Department. The State Department talks to everybody. Fuck off.
Special Operations Command, and others. So
yeah, that's the part that scares me. And others. Why won't she tell us? What is she hiding?
This is not just the State Department, so do not be fooled.
Never mind.
This is all government agencies.
Yeah, everything. Fucking the Agriculture Department. Boom. Gotcha.
And it's not just foreign, it's who is saying things that is against our narrative that we can label foreign, right?
No, it's not. No, here's the thing. The government does not have access to Twitter's servers, for example. And they can go, hey, this fits a bunch of other things. We've been monitoring what real foreign disinformation campaigns that we have human intel on from overseas. And with these things kind of align with that. We did a scan of stuff, and these things are coming up. Can you check these out? And if they are indeed fake accounts, could you please get rid of them? If they're regular Americans or whatever, if you think they're, cosplaying as Hindu nationalists, that's up to you. But we just thought we'd let you know. That's what this means. That's what, to grown people, that's what this means. Now, to people who are living as expats from the United States for fear of legal reprisal or to avoid civil penalties, whose apparently lifestyle is paid for by fuck knows who, this might make you nervous, because if they shut down that gravy train, your turkey's going to be a little dry.
Then the GEC sent these reports to the media, so they had this long list of users that they said, we think these are probably bad guys. They sent the list to the media, and then in the Twitter files, we see the media following up with Twitter and saying, you're going to deplatform these people, right? We have the list. These people are still active. What are you going to do? So the media then doing the bidding of this government agency.
So did they, you do realize that these are fake accounts. You do realize that the vast majority, these are maybe a couple of randos, but these are largely propaganda accounts. That's the fucking point. They send them to the media. The media, by the way, I don't know who the fucking media is. Do they just go, like, write it up, take a brown envelope, write care of media and throw it in the fucking, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, how does it arrive at the media? And then once the media gets it, they just rubber stamp it and go, hey, Twitter, what the fuck?
Now, Taibbi said that the GEC passed some good information to Twitter.
Yeah, did they? Some? You seem confused by that. Some?
But mostly not.
But mostly not?
They used this report here called Russian Pillars of Disinformation and Propaganda, full of spurious associations, such as the fact that anyone who tweets anything critical of the US or slightly in favor of a narrative that could be favorable to Russia, China, or Iran is a foreign agent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not at all what it says. I don't have a copy of it right in front of me, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that just the whiff of it makes you a foreign agent. I feel comfortable just kind of laying that one out there. I feel free to prove me wrong by you know what? Crazy me. Why don't you just put the line that says anybody that's kind of even remotely distinct, and I don't like that, and then I don't like put that that line up on screen. You can do that, right? You just showed the cover. You showed the cover of it, right? You're capable of putting graphics on the screen. Why not? And I know this is nuts. Put the part up where it says anybody that even is the whiff of doesn't like it and even sides with remotely a narrative that might be associated with Iran is, yeah.
That should be deplatformed. Taibbi concludes that disinformation studies have mostly become a con where non-experts mesmerize reporters with what one former GEC staffer calls hairball charts. Take a look at this one, hairball charts. So here is what he's saying.
Number 42. Disinformation studies has mostly become a con where non-experts mesmerize reporters with what one former GEC staffer calls hairball charts. Oh, hairball charts. That he's calling them that not because it's a hair-brained scheme. Hairball charts are because of, like, these look like hair knots and they spread out from there. Okay, usually measuring something idiotic like who follows 2 Chinese diplomats or shares an Iranian Free Palestine meme. Is that what it does? Okay, first of all, the disinformation studies are not about everybody that's attached to that piece of information being a willing participant. Otherwise, it wouldn't fucking work. You would only be disinforming people who already know it's disinformation, who don't need to be convinced because they already know the lie. Disinformation, the whole goal is to lead to misinformation. And misinforming people involves this spread out. So it starts with a disinformation campaign, and then it spreads to misinformations, where dumbasses like her and her fucking redacted dipshit husband and any number of, like, Roseanne-esque people on Twitter just go, oh my God, that sounds true, flick, and they just bump it downstream on their feed. This whole thing, usually measuring something idiotic, like someone who follows 2 Chinese diplomats or shares an Iranian Free Palestine meme. No, it doesn't. That's not what this chart shows. Here's what is idiotic. The person who looks at this chart and with total Matt Taibbi face goes, oh, I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's what he's talking about. He's looking at that chart and going, that looks complicated. Like a fucking, like if it's too complex, it must be fake. It must be a lie. That's it. Jesus Christ.
That, basically it's just gobbledygook.
Basically.
Speak.
Yeah, basically it's just gobbledygook speak. Okay, first of all, you don't have to say speak when you say gobbledygook. Gobbledygook assumes a certain level of speech. I don't know how many times I have to say this. It feels like it's 35 times a day, especially when I'm watching your gobbledygook.
And reporters take it. And then if you look at this hairball chart, it's just saying, where do we have influence? And who are the people where we don't have influence?
No, that's not what this chart says at all. It takes the sites where an idea grows, one particular piece of propaganda they know specifically is a piece of propaganda, like the existence of the PLO and Yasser Arafat being a KGB construction from a long time ago, or the idea that the CIA created AIDS to kill black people in Africa, which we also know was a KGB plot to create disinformation. And they follow that flow from where it starts spreading across a space, and how it transforms over time into a softer version where some people will take off the parts that obviously are clues that it's misinformation or part of a disinformation campaign. They put it in their own words and then forward it forwards the same misinformation tide, and that's where you get a graphic like this. Again, I feel like Laszlo Holyfeld, where I look at this and I'm like, finally, something I can understand. Okay, let me explain something. This lady and Matt Taibbi are the kind of people that exist in the world, so there has to be a line in every sci-fi movie I like where someone goes, Doc, speak English. I'm like, motherfucker, he just spoke English. That's how he would say it. And if you're in the room, you would understand it, or you wouldn't be in the fucking room. So, all right. That's why. Yeah, she's an expat.
And let's say that they're the bad guys.
Uh-huh. How about they are? How about in the cases, take one of the cases like this is an example of, by the way, that Matt Taibbi said they gave good information. Assume that for a second and know that the chart with the good information looks like that. The chart with the bad information is, I guess, would be a direct line from some rando on Twitter that goes nowhere.
And then get the media to do our bidding by calling them the bad guys. And that, in fact, happened. In fact,
it did.
Last year, the Washington Examiner profiled a GEC-funded NGO in the UK that listed media outlets by risk, right? And so what they did was put money into the media outlets that were not high risk. In fact, the GEC obligated almost $100 million, of which roughly 80 million came from the Pentagon.
Right. Okay. Hang on. They put money into trustworthy sources is the argument. Are you mad because you're not trustworthy and you didn't get any of this money? Because that's what it sounds like right now.
And gave it to at least 39 different news organizations whose names were redacted. Here is the report. And in
Audit of Global Engagement Center, Federal Assistance Award Management and Monitoring. So federal assistance. So any media outlet that gets federal assistance, which would not be, I guess, ABC, CBS, NBC, and the like. This would be downstream, smaller outlets, something like that.
In that report, we see this list of good dogs. Basically, these are media organizations that they think are good that they then gave money to. So when you wonder, why is the media not more critical of these State Department narratives? Well, could that be why?
Well, those would be, yeah. Those would be, again, downstream, small, probably local. And this is the UK, too. So God knows what fucking zines they're handing out money to. In England, they have the BBC, for example, which is the British Broadcasting Company, which is state-owned. It's a state outlet. It is, you used to have a BBC license and all that shit that you had to pay to have the channel and all that kind of shit. And it is a product of the public. ABC, even though it's the American Broadcasting Company, isn't. It's a private organization, just like American Airlines and U.S. Steel. It's a name. It's not actually state media. BBC is. And also, BBC awards through their system these supports. Also, I haven't seen the report, so she cites the title but doesn't put up on screen other than the redacted part.
Yes, it could
Wondering?
be. It could be why. I wonder.
Right. So all of that should prove to you.
What should prove to me? A redacted piece of screen that you say means those people are actually the bad guys, and a couple of title screens?
That they
Oh, and sorry, 2 Matt Taibbi tweets.
are not a group that Canada and the UK might say, yeah, let's work with them. They're doing some good stuff. But that was only one of the Twitter files that mentioned the GEC. There was another earlier in January of 2023.
Of course. Why? That's the outlet by which they funneled all this stuff. Did these assholes? Are we onto another Jade Helm?
Called Twitter and the FBI belly button. Do you remember this?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, we talked about this. This round showed that GEC was able to get the media to bite on its narrative.
Also, why am I seeing that picture and why do I give a rat fuck? Because Matt Taibbi has posted a picture. What? Every picture you put up that isn't evidence of something, I'm going to assume you're hiding something.
That certain published COVID concerns were Russian misinformation. Also, they were Chinese, also Iranian. Here are two headlines that just picked that up and went with it. Russia linked disinformation campaign fueling coronavirus alarm.
Who was president when that came out? Anybody remember? I can't remember. It was February of 2020. It was somebody important, and it was early on in the whole thing. Russia linked in disinformation campaign fueling coronavirus alarm. U.S. says. This is from Agence France Presse. Well, by golly, look at that title there. Shall we look at that? Okay. Russia linked. Linked is doing a lot of work there, I guess. Disinformation campaign fueling coronavirus alarm. There you go. Wrestling disinformation fueling coronavirus. This is Yahoo News. Times of Israel put it out. They're using so it's on Agence France Presse, but we'll look at February 22nd, 2020. Let's see what this said. U.S. says, and now Donald Trump was president. He didn't like the idea that coronavirus was moving across the country. He thought it was no big deal and be gone by the sunshine when the sunshine came out. Thousands of Russian-linked social media accounts have launched a coordinated effort to spread alarm about the new coronavirus, disrupting global efforts to fight the pandemic. U.S. officials say the disinformation campaign promotes unfounded conspiracy theories that the United States is behind the COVID-19 outbreak. In an apparent bid to damage the U.S. image around the world by seizing on health concerns, State Department officials tasked with combating Russian disinformation told AFP, Agence France Presse, that false personas are being used on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to advance Russian talking points in multiple languages. Russia's intent is to sow discord and undermine U.S. institutions and alliances from within, including through covert and coercive malign influence campaigns, said Philip Rieker, the acting Assistant Secretary of State for Europe and Eurasia under Donald Trump. By spreading disinformation about coronavirus, Russian malign actors are once again choosing to threaten public safety by distracting from the global health response. He said the claims that have been circulating online in recent weeks include allegations that the virus is a U.S. effort to wage economic war on China. I don't know why that. Obviously, we were all denied that little nugget of truth. That it is a biological weapon manufactured by the CIA or part of a Western-led effort to push anti-China messages. U.S. individuals, including Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, a philanthropist who spent billions of dollars in global health programs, has been falsely accused of involvement in the virus. Russia on Saturday denied the accusations, with Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, isn't she been lovely for the last little bit, telling the TASS state news agency, this is a deliberately false story. Yes, we know that. You mean the one you planted? Of course. The disinformation campaign was identified by U.S. monitors in mid-January after Chinese officials announced a third death from the new coronavirus in Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak. More than 2,340 people have since died, mostly in China. The number of cases exceeds 76,000. The virus has reached more than 25 countries, with deaths in Italy, Iran, and South Korea, forcing public officials to close schools. That was all from the early part of it. Okay. Several thousand online accounts previously identified for airing Russian-backed messages on major events such as the war in Syria, the Yellow Vest protests in France, and Chile's mass demonstrations are posting almost near identical messages about the epidemic, according to a report prepared for the State Department's Global Engagement Center and seen by AFP. The accounts, run by humans, not bots, post at similar times in English, Spanish, Italian, German, French, and can be linked back to Russian proxies or carry similar messages to Russian-backed outlets such as RT and Sputnik, it said. Russia's state media started pushing anti-Western messages about the cause of the coronavirus on January 20th, with operators on social media accounts beginning to post globally the following day, U.S. officials said. In this case, we were able to see their full disinformation ecosystem in effect, including state TV, proxy websites, and thousands of false social media personas, all pushing the same themes. This is not even a fucking surprise. For fuck's sake. That happened.
U.S. says. Look at the date on that. February 22nd.
Russia
Yes. Fuck Joe Biden.
linked disinformation campaign fueling coronavirus alarm.
So France 24 just went with this, right? Yes. Oh, okay. COVID alarm in February of 2020 was Russia linked.
All right. They don't even read the stories. Why the fuck am I? They're clearly not reading these stories. They just are Somebody else posted this headline and they just grabbed it, because there's no fucking way you even peruse this fucking argument, this article, and not end up going, oh, okay, yeah, or I'd be full of shit if I said that.
That didn't age well, right? And
Yes, it
here
did.
was
It aged very well. All of it aged like there's no fucking surprise in this at all. What the fuck are you talking about? Hold on, I gotta scroll my chat down. Because somebody posted in there. You know, Putin wanted to divide the people in USA, and he did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just that. Yeah. So
the narrative around that thousands of Russian-linked social media accounts were spreading misinformation about the COVID pandemic.
no, it wasn't just that Russian-linked accounts were spreading misinformation. It's not that simple. Thousands of Russian-linked social media accounts have launched a coordinated effort to spread alarm about the new coronavirus, disrupting global efforts. It wasn't that they all just kind of came up with it at the same time. There was this kind of overlap in the ideas. It's word for fucking word. While Trump was president.
Here's another from Politico. State report, which we know as the GEC, Russian, Chinese, and Iranian disinformation narratives echo one another.
Yeah, they're copy and paste schemes.
This was about the U.S. having bioweapons and looking into the U.S. having perhaps any research around COVID in biolabs that were abroad.
Okay, no. We study coronaviruses because they're the most common illness on the planet. And if there's going to be a global pandemic, it's more than likely going to travel via coronavirus, specific because of the shape of the virus and how many connectors it has. It's easily transmittable versus something that has like 3 prongs on it that only attaches to every 16th person, or has to live out its entire life, like Ebola, for example, to kill the person before it spreads on to the next person.
That report didn't age well.
Yes, it did. How? Tell me what part. The 3 governments are pushing a host of matching messages that the novel coronavirus is an American bioweapon. So, dipshit here is saying that it was an American bioweapon. That is the only reason this would not age well. That's, yeah. Oh, and by the way, for the record, and we'll finish up with this because she's going to say the same shit over and over again. Let me, this is redacted. This is that fucking claptrap show that they do. Her husband used to be on Fox a long time ago, and then bilked a bunch of people out of a fake in a real estate scheme, and then when he was sued and charged, they fled the country, and they've been living in fucking, I don't know, South America someplace. They do the show from down there. So fuck America is their whole, like, that's their new moneymaker. That's their new scheme. For the record, if I may, if indeed this didn't age well, and for the record, the U.S. created a bioweapon, right? That's the premise of this whole fucking article. The U.S. There was a bioweapon that Donald Trump allowed a U.S. bioweapon to kill a million Americans so he could have leverage in a trade deal. That would be, if that's the case, he was engaged at that time with this trying to do a China trade deal, right? China money. He was trying to get some of that China money, right? And then, yeah, okay. So the other, of course, if it was a Chinese bioweapon, then Donald Trump was president during the worst bioweapon attack in American history, and not only did he not do anything about it, he specifically sold the largest order of beef, pork, corn, and soybeans to the people who sent it, allegedly, according to this dipshit. But it didn't age well. You know what's not going to age well? The 2 of them. I'm just saying. This is not, will Clayton speak? I don't think so. Clayton popped in for a second. He probably gets the last word. She gets to do all the fucking hold on. She gets to do. I want that in there. Yeah. So she gets to do all the kind of secretarial talk on it, And then he chimes in with wisdom. Also, the U.S. national debt, you're just going to run that that's the idea that we can't afford we got to close the border because we can't afford it. And you want, how about here's a good idea. Put our economy, our GDP underneath that. Just our yearly GDP. Not our total debt over time, but our yearly GDP. How about do that? And the other thing is under that, put how much your show makes and how much your bills are in Papua New Guinea or wherever the fuck you are compared to it. Let me see what the percentage of debt to income ratio is on that one. Curious, wouldn't you think? All right, and now back to you, chat room. Hello. I'm gonna run out of time, aren't I? Yeah, I only got 15 minutes. All right, so okay, that one's 9 minutes. This one's 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. This is let's go to Jim Jordan because he's gonna talk about yesterday. Many of you know if you watched, and if you don't, it's online. I did the whole Hunter Biden deposition, all of it. I did it top to tails. The only thing I left out was the swearing in part and the rules. Everything else, all the dialogue I went through the whole thing. And this asshole was sitting there. Comer left early, didn't ask a single question, bitched a little bit at the beginning, and then split. Just for the record. He wasn't even there for Devin Archer's. He left during the Hunter Biden one, I think before the first break. So Jim Jordan was there the whole time, insofar as I know. And here it is.
Ohio Congressman and ranking member on the House.
And rank, it's rank member. He's rank member Jim Jordan.
House Judiciary Committee. Congressman Jim Jordan, honor to have you on, sir. What do you make of this border fiasco and the back and forth between the dueling presidents?
We only have one president at a time. We don't have dueling presidents.
Well, I mean, President Trump is leadership and strength, and Joe Biden is weakness and weakness. More weakness, I guess, is probably the way to say. I mean, there's just no other way, and that's in foreign policy. That's on the border. Frankly, that's on any issue you can come.
Yeah, any issue, infrastructure, dealing with China and the technology that the military was stealing from us for years under Donald Trump. Yeah, just weakness, supporting Ukraine, whereas Republicans and Donald Trump specifically want to undermine Ukraine. That's strength, so that Russia can do whatever it wants because we're afraid of them because they have nukes, right? That's strength.
Come up with. I don't know that this Biden administration has done one thing right, but.
Well, that's because you want the country to fold. Your version of right is wrong.
But the one thing they've done exceptionally wrong is the border, and it started on day one when Joe Biden made 3 decisions. He said,
bring back the economy, and
I'm going to get rid of the remain in Mexico. We are no longer going to build the wall, and when you get here and we catch you, you will be released. You will not.
That's not what that was not the plan.
Be detained. Those 3 things.
They didn't say we're gonna. Nowhere did Joe Biden or any of these people actually say, when you get here, we're just going to release you into the country. Please point to me in any executive order, statement from the State Department, the Department of Homeland Security, or the administration itself. Fuck off.
It's fundamentally changed it all, and yet today he goes to.
Title 42 is responsible for building the infrastructure around people trying multiple times to cross, and that's what created all the human trafficking and the drugs and all this stuff.
As you pointed out, I think so well, he doesn't go to Eagle Pass where it's all going down.
It's not all going down on Eagle Pass. It isn't. It isn't. As a matter of fact, quite frankly, that was the point of the whole trucker convoy. They went down there and they were like, I don't know. It seems all right to me. It's just fucking stupid. Most of the people started coming when there were federal funds and surveillance and all this shit. And even Trump points it out. There's like cameras everywhere and there's all this stuff around. Yeah, exactly, asshole. That's how we know who got through. That's why when you're saying, I don't know how many got through, we know exactly how many. That's why you're going, we don't know what countries they come from. We know exactly what fucking countries they come from.
Where President Trump is, where we were 6 weeks ago with the Speaker of the House, he doesn't go there. He goes to Brownsville.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, Congressman, you actually just subpoenaed DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over this entire migrant crisis and then the cutting of the razor wire in Texas and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, because you got people quitting, the first responders in that area quitting their job because they're having PTSD from finding dead bodies because the razor wire keeps making these people drown. A wall is a wall is a wall. The wall is there. But the razor wire, why do you need razor wire if the wall works? I guess is my big question.
Look, I get it, he was impeached, but is this guy ever going to be held accountable? I mean, people are dying. 70,000 people a year die of fentanyl poisoning that comes
Down from 100,000 while Trump was president. Weird.
across the border.
Yeah, no, he's pathetic. And
Most of it comes in through the ports.
it's again part of this administration's ridiculous. I mean, part of what defines you as a
Also, in the border bill, there is more money for technology that stops drugs at the border, sensor equipment and the like that can sense the fentanyl itself, but also the precursor chemicals and all that kind of shit. It's weird, isn't it?
nation is you actually have a border, which Governor Abbott once knows we need to have, which certainly President Trump knows we need to have. Unfortunately, the Biden administration doesn't. Mayorkas he's withheld information from us. We've asked him for all kinds of things. So, yeah, we have to resort to subpoenas from time to time.
Hey, look, they're getting to the point in the wall where it ends because it's on sovereign Indian land or it's on private land.
To get information we need, data we need to make sure the American people know what's going on. We in Congress know what's going on so we can have a better chance actually fixing it. But yeah, this is one of the many requests and subpoenas, frankly, we've had to send.
That's Mayorkas.
To Secretary Mayorkas.
Walking the border with CPB. Isn't that funny? It's almost as like Biden doesn't have to go to the border because he has the Department of Homeland Security had to go down there and do his fucking job.
And imagine if they actually started working with you instead of trying to get around everything you guys are trying to help them with. All right, I want to move on.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. What are they trying to help you with? You mean the border bill that gives funding to all of this stuff that helps deal with this? That he's part of the group making sure it doesn't come to the floor for a vote?
Hunter Biden, you have been hot on this. All right.
Oh, hot.
He claims
You've been on Hunter Biden like a I don't know, like I guess a senior coach on an unwilling wrestler at a college.
now that he was high or drunk when he was name dropping the current president, then the vice president, to Chinese nationals in order to extort them for over $5 million. Congressman, I don't know if I've ever heard something worse than this. Look, this is a guy who lied on a federal drug form. This is national security.
No, it isn't. It's private business. There was no element of national security with this at all. And if there is, then I think a wire transfer of $15 million while Donald Trump was president from an account he had in China and taking the cash out of that would be national security. Wouldn't you agree? How about direct involvement of your living daughter who's working in the Oval Office with the Chinese government and getting these trademarks so that she can do business over there and fly over on her own to do business with them and then come back to you and speak about God knows what in the fucking Oval Office.
Yeah, this whole process, what we call the money, the business, the brand, all the companies, all the millions of dollars coming in from these foreign entities into those Biden-controlled companies, and then the access that they were selling to, as Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's business partner, told us last summer in his deposition.
Nope.
The access they were selling to the brand and
the brand, the access to the brand. Because why they keep saying the brand? Why the brand? Because he wasn't in office anymore. They can't say access to the U.S. government, access to the White House, access to the vice president's office, access to government programs and priorities. That's why they say the brand. Every time they say the brand, I would like to remind everyone that means that is an admission that they were not selling influence. Influence is not the brand. If you're selling influence, fucking say it. The problem is they can't point to a single fucking policy change of any sort that came about in relation to his business or his brother's, Jim Biden's business, any of that shit. They can't. So that's why they say the brand. And that's why the brand is so fucking stupid.
brand was Joe Biden.
You're right, as a concept. If the brand is Joe Biden, then why don't you say influence? Why don't you say Joe Biden's influence? What is the brand influence? Is the hey, he's notoriously corrupt. If you get in good with his son, he'll fix shit for you. Like, I'll give you an example. Example. Listen to me. Example. Menendez. Bob Menendez. The Bob Menendez brand is you get what you pay for. You see what I'm saying? That is absolutely true. Like, I think anybody around Bob Menendez at some point was very fucking aware, right? That if you were you could bribe him, and especially if you were from anywhere in the vicinity of Egypt, for example, you would get what you needed, at least from him. Whether he had the ability to pass it on. By the way, I'm chewing a piece of my throat gum to make sure that I can sing tomorrow because I am talking. Pardon me. But Menendez, definitely, the brand of Menendez is that fucker, you give him some gold bars and some cash in a duffel bag. Consider it done. The Biden brand was integrity, family, all that stuff. What's your throat gum? Oh, it's airwaves. I learned about it from the lead singer of Judas Priest, Rob Halford. It's called airwaves. It's a menthol gum and it's crazy. Whew. It's very strong. But it protects my throat when I'm talking or when I'm singing, especially. But anyways, so the Biden brand is integrity. And that's, I think that's one of the things we push over the next year or two. I'm going to make some graphics that say the Biden brand is integrity. They're trying to diminish the Biden brand because the Trump brand is corruption.
So, yeah, I can't get into details yet. We're going to release the transcript. It's supposed to come out sometime today, but the rules of
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen it. I acted out the whole fucking thing.
the House prevent me from talking about specifics in there. But I can tell you this, Carl, that
we swung and we missed.
Many of the witnesses we've talked to directly contradicted what Hunter Biden told us yesterday.
Nope.
And some of the evidence, of course, that we've gotten contradicts.
Well, certainly Smirnoff. And then Tony Bobulinski, but he actively contradicted Tony Bobulinski. He said Tony Bobulinski's full of shit. Directly. Not, I said something. He said, well, and even Rob Walker, he's like, I don't remember that dinner happening, but I have no reason to question if Rob Walker said we had that meeting on that date. Sure. That's not a contradiction. At all. So the only people, and Devin Archer, yeah, I guess he contradicted something Devin Archer said, which are alleged, because Devin Archer later cleaned that up and said, I didn't actually hear who he called or whether he called DC or anything. But Archer, Galvanis, or whatever his name is, and Bobulinski, I think Archer and Galvanis are going to jail. And Bobulinski's a disgruntled business partner who was planning on making way more out of this than he deserved.
His testimony yesterday. What I do think it did provide us, too, is a kind of a roadmap for when, in fact, we're looking to have a public hearing with Hunter Biden. And we got some, I think, good material and good information for that public hearing. But we...
Yeah. Yeah, we got a taste of it. The Harriet Hagman part is, if you haven't watched that part of the stream, it was super fun. For the record, the Harriet Hagman part and the Matt Gaetz part were basically just, it was like a radio transcript of exactly what they would say in the actual live hearing. It's gonna be the same shit.
We're going to release that transcript just as soon as we can, and then we can get into the details, because he told us things that I think are just absolutely not accurate.
Yeah, well, Congress.
Well, that's because you believe things that aren't accurate. So, of course, you will believe what he's saying isn't accurate because what you believe is not accurate.
And you should put that public testimony on pay-per-view. I would pay to see that. Last, before I let you go, that you've got loan repayment checks, $200K, $40K. You have a significant paper.
Yeah, which in the transcript they explain directly. There was it wasn't even it was like a bridge loan even that Joe gave him. It wasn't even a long time. It was like a couple of weeks before he paid him back. Like that $200,000 only rode him through until he got paid. And then when he got paid, he paid it back. That's what it was. They directly show it. They entered it in as an exhibit. I talked about it yesterday.
Trail from CEFC, the Chinese company, through Hunter Biden and Oswaldo, and a variety of other things, shifting money to the Penn Biden Center, where the documents were unsecure. They deleted the visitor logs. I mean, like, and Democrats like, there's no smoking gun. I mean, like, did they just not have glasses?
Yes, we don't have glasses. That's why we don't. Yeah, we have 20/20 vision, and we don't need the documents. We have everything memorized. Run that by me again. What was your little list of shit?
Company through Hunter Biden and Oswaldo. You have a significant paper trail from
Significant paper trail.
CEFC, the Chinese company, through Hunter Biden and Oswaldo, and a
Oswaldo? You mean Owaska? Owasco? Oswaldo. I'm not familiar with Oswaldo. It does remind me of my favorite knock knock joke when I was a kid. Knock knock. Who's there? Oswald. Oswald who? Oswald my bubble gum. I love that one. By the way, told my kid a joke the other day online, and I don't know why, but we were just doing jokes back and forth, and I don't know why, but this one particularly made us crack up, which was, did you hear about the guy whose left side fell off? He's all right now. I don't know why, but both of us just felt it was so stupid. It was so stupid. But both of us just fell over. I don't know why. It was just perfect. Do you hear about the guy whose left side fell off? He's all right now.
variety of other things, shifting money to the Penn Biden Center.
Shifting money to the Penn Biden Center. Okay. There's no paper trail where they're, quote, shifting money to the Penn Biden Center. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Nobody does. I think there's this idea that Chinese people funded parts of UPenn, and the idea is that some of that money went to the Penn Biden Center. There's no evidence that it did. The idea is that just because they paid into the science lab there or whatever, that because it's in the neighborhood, that's plenty. Never mind the fact that Yi Jianming owned 2 apartments in Trump buildings, but
the documents were unsecure. They deleted the visitor logs. I mean, like, and
they deleted the visitor logs for fucking who?
Democrats like, there's no smoking gun.
There's no smoking gun. Again, even if the visitor log showed something, the deleting of it doesn't prove that there was anything nefarious going on. If I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know. Are they allegedly deleted from the Penn Biden Center? Is that where he's going? Let's just say they're deleted. Okay. Absence of evidence is not evidence of evidence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. The opposite. Whatever. Having there is no smoking gun. That would prove that would erase the smoking gun, technically speaking, if they met there. It still would be a smoking gun somewhere. There just wouldn't be a record of the smoking gun. I don't even know what the fuck he's trying. Like his point. He's throwing these together, so it's hard to hash them out.
Like, did they just not have glasses?
Well, I think.
Why do you think everyone needs glasses?
I think it's just pure partisanship, and I think part of it's just driven by this. I mean, you know how the left is today. They just anything that's against President Trump, they're going to be for.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Anything that's against President Trump? What do you mean, like consent laws? You might have a point.
And so I think that's part of it. And it's, again, I think President Trump was.
You mean Putin?
The best, certainly the best president we've had in my lifetime. Actually came into this office and to the presidency and did what he told us he was going to do. But we got a few more things on the Biden issue. Next week, we have a deposition with this Sally Painter, who was the Democrat public relations firm that dealt with this Ukrainian energy company.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's going to be a winner. Let me get this straight. You didn't get shit out of the first son, who is a lawyer, who has a great lawyer with him. That was a swing and a fucking miss. So you're going to bring in a woman who does lobbying legally and is a PR executive, and you're going to trip her up and get her off message? Good luck.
That helped them. And then the week after that, we have Robert Hur, the special counsel, who
gives a fuck?
Looked into the whole classified documents issue and how Joe Biden willfully, intentionally, deliberately released and mishandled classified information.
No, he didn't.
Over decades, over the whole time he was in public office.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's what he concluded at all.
Well, Congressman Jim Jordan.
Because if he did, he would charge him with it. That's a crime.
I can't.
Willfully, and I don't know, can you willfully mishandle stuff? Right? It's kind of like in the realm of you can't leak a lie. If you're willfully taking them out, then you're not mishandling them. You're handling them illegally.
Think of a better guy to be on this. We appreciate you.
Well, yeah, that's because you've had Comer on, and he's, you know, for whatever reason, he's worn out his welcome. That's weird.
Joining us tonight.
Derp. Okay, I went over time. I changed the time of the show today, you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out. I got to go catch a plane. So much love to you. I'll see you guys after the radio show tomorrow, and I got to fly into Dallas tonight for the Nerd Halen gig tomorrow. I have to fly in tonight so that I'm up and available for radio and all that kind of stuff. And I've got my whole. I think I've got the road rig figured out. I have. Summer just like watched me with like wires, cables, drives, computers, cameras, and all that stuff laid out on a table as I neatly pack it into one bag like a maniac. Just all I'm going to say is thank God I'm TSA pre, because taking my electronics out of my fucking backpack would be a nightmare. That said, I will see you guys on the radio. It'll be me, Johnny Million, Philip Bittner. And then Monday morning, 7 a.m. my time, I will be on Stephanie Miller's show, and we will be officially, Stephanie, we will officially be telling you guys where we're going to be for Sexy Liberal, what dates we have on the book. We're going to launch the tour officially with the dates we're going to have, and we're going to add a couple more over the next little bit, but that's officially what's going to happen. So anyways, love you guys. I hope you like the new digs. I'm gonna build more sets like this because it interests me, because I'm nerdy like that. And when I can't fix certain things because the technology is not caught up, I'm gonna just dick around in Photoshop and Final Cut and make stuff just so that I can have ridiculous backgrounds. I even made a window. Hold on one second. I even made a window for me to have guests on, because I have to put them in as a browser source. There you go. And if you can see, I don't know if you can tell, I angled them. Please work. Please fucking work. Please work. Please fucking work. Please work. Please work. Oh, please work. Okay. Anyways, love you guys. See you tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And hopefully my ending screen works. I think it did. Hit the like, guys. Help me out. Thanks so much. Subscribe if you're new and all that stuff and you don't realize when I'm normally on. Thank you for the super chats. Oh my God, you guys are wonderful. Thanks again for the support. You're adorable and wonderful. Thank you again. And I know I started early and thank you, but I appreciate it. Reds, maybe just take it. There it is. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe. Help us out. Subscribe.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
All right.